In this video, I'll give you 7 concrete tips for how to move forward in your analysis when you feel totally stuck. Now, there are several reasons for why you could be stuck in your analysis, and therefore also different ways that would help you have a breakthrough. So depending on where you're struggling, some of these ideas will be for you and some will not. But I encourage you to watch them all because they might spark an idea for you. Also watch till the end because I'll tell you how I can help you beyond the tips I give you in this video. One of the reasons why you might be struggling is that you're not entirely sure about what it is that you're researching. It's become a mix of interest areas, so you might be researching a little bit of this and then a little bit of this, which might be slightly different but still the same. But it means that your research scope has simply become too big. So ask yourself what it is that you are specifically researching and what you are not researching. Then look at all the subject areas you are working on and cross out the ones that will not help you answer the overall research question. I'm considering making a video about how to frame the scope of your research so you can be clearer about the limits and direction of your research. Give this video a like or a comment if that sounds something that would be helpful to you. Okay, so maybe you have a pretty good idea about what you're researching, but your analysis is simply just one big mess with no structure to it. You're just trying to find your way as you write, but you don't know the overall argument with the points you are writing about. If that's what you're experiencing, I would suggest that you get an overview by writing headlines of each of the analytical points you want to make. You might also write a few lines under each headline with a summary of the point you are making. Then you evaluate each of these points to see if they're supporting your overall argument or if they are redundant for the specific area that you're researching. If a point doesn't contribute to answering your research question, you can let it go. The next tip will help you if you have all these points you want to make, but you have a hard time seeing the connections between them, or that you have a hard time figuring out what to include under each point. This is the time to go analog and pull out a pen and paper because we're going to visualize it by making a mind map. So in the middle, you might have your research question, and around it, you have your different analytical points. From these points, you might go into even more detail about what they contain. You might discover that some of these points are connected and probably should follow each other or at least reference each other in your paper. The fourth tip has been extremely helpful to me, and it will also help you if you have a hard time cracking the code on your analysis. I have experienced focusing too much on the theory or abstract level of my research, so I lost sight of what I was doing. I also had a hard time knowing what parts of a theory was even relevant, so I felt like I needed to continue reading to understand the whole theory, while simultaneously feeling like that was totally pointless because I wasn't moving along with my analysis. If you're experiencing the same, I would suggest that you become very concrete and look at the empirical data that you have gathered for your project. Look at your data and start finding themes and patterns in that. With the amount of theory that you already know, I'm sure that you're actually able to start your analysis of your data. Now, you might also have the opposite problem. Maybe you have mainly worked with your data and you're unsure about what to do with it. If that's the case, you might want to zoom out a little. Look at the theories that you want to use and ask yourself what these theories would say about the data you have. You can also look at the overall purpose of your research to get a better grasp of what you want your data to help you understand. That will help you get a direction for your analysis of the data, and it will help you weed out the data that you shouldn't be focusing on. If you're unsure about how to apply a specific theory or what you can use a specific method for, it's a good idea to draw inspiration from other papers that use that theory or method. Seeing the theory or method in action helps you get a better idea about how you can use it in your research. That can sometimes lead you to the breakthrough you need to get your analysis going. Speaking of using other people as a way to get your breakthrough, it can be very valuable to talk to someone about your research. That can be one of your peers who also have knowledge within your field, or it can be a friend or family member who has no idea about what you're doing, but who is a great listener. If you talk to one of your peers, they can help point out things that you haven't thought about, and they can tell you what they would do if they were in your shoes. If you talk to a friend or family member, try explaining your research in words that they can understand. That can help simplify your research and thereby get some clarification on what you're actually doing. Also, just talking about it out loud can help you have a breakthrough. I have experienced several times where I've told my dad about a research project I was doing, and without him saying a word, I've had an epiphany. Really easy for him and a powerful moment for me. That's a win-win. The last tip is one you shouldn't underestimate, even though it's quite simple. And that is simply to let go of your research for the rest of the day. If you're watching this video, chances are that you have used a lot of mental energy on how to crack the code on your research. All the things that you've been reading and thinking about are marinating in your brain, and it needs time to settle. So let your brain have a rest. Oftentimes your brain will even be so kind as to give you a breakthrough right as you're doing something totally unrelated to your research. I cannot tell you how many times I've done some mundane activity and suddenly gotten what feels like a stroke of genius, which I of course have immediately written down. Don't fool yourself thinking that you'll remember it without writing it down. One time I almost wrote half of the analysis of a paper in the middle of a night while I was visiting a friend. Because I had let my brain chill for a little, it had the energy to put all the puzzle pieces together, so don't underestimate the power of the mundane. If you want help with your qualitative research and methods, you are very welcome to contact me. See the description of how I can help you get a breakthrough in your research.